I will say relationships. So your relationship with your customer, your client, your supporter, whatever you want to call them, I think that matters more than anything. So if you're somebody that wants to start a small business, like I think you should care about what your followers like.
The relationship with your
The
followers.
relationships with them, yeah, it has to be genuine. It can't just be like,
This
a
is my product. Here you
transactional.
go.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
just can't be like a transactional thing.
Hey guys, it's Alex from West Coast Initiative with another episode with you guys for you guys. This one's an older version. So before we had the YouTube channel, we had all these audios that we just posted on Spotify and iTunes. Now we want to get these out live on YouTube as well. So we're slowly bringing them back in. We're gonna start with Lina Bell, who is the owner of Boards by Bell. Really fascinating story how she kind of got into it. Is a charcuterie board business that she owns, the drive that she has, the joyfulness in her life, how she came out to be of a young shy self at a young age to just being an exuberant person and one of the most wonderful people you'll ever meet. So without further ado, let the talk begin. Hey guys, welcome to the West Coast Initiative. I'm your host, Alex Castillo. At the moment, Matt is not with us right now, but he will be joining on later on. And today's an exciting show because we go with an old friend of mine from back in elementary. And she is an entrepreneur. She's the owner of Beauty by Bell, Boards by Bell, San Diego born and raised, and also an extraordinary dog mom. Lina Bell, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you. And how's everything for you? How's the COVID times for you right now?
It's a little hard. I haven't seen my family since March.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, it's been a little hard, but my niece is turning 1 in a month, so I'll be able to see her, which I'm really excited about after quarantine, and just make sure I'm safe and just not hang out with like friends and things like that before I go see them. But it will definitely be worth it.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, I've been working still. I work like, part-time, full-time hours at Bonds actually, and
Oh,
I
wow.
run my business on the side. Yeah, so I'm not doing
Wow.
my business full-time, but it is a goal of mine to eventually stop working for somebody else and like fully work on myself.
And
That's
that's
the
that's that's
goal.
part of the process, I think, for most people, right? I mean, I had a meal prep business a while back, and then I also had a janitorial business at the same time. The janitorial business kind of got into it on mistake. Like I kind of had a surprise because my dad at the time was sick and he was the owner of that business, so he kind of handed me down that business. Rest in peace, my dad. But I still had the part-time. Well, actually, I had a full-time job, and then doing the monkey meals, the meal prep, and also the janitorial. So I know exactly how that is. That grind of just like you want to achieve your goals, but you also got to put money in the food on the plate. You know what I mean?
Exactly. There's still bills to pay. That's one thing about the coronavirus. The bills don't stop.
Yeah, no, biz don't stop.
It doesn't stop. But, it has been like an eye opener for me. Like it has really, I started my business back in December and I was kind of doing it more like a side thing, but now I'm more focused. Like it's like
And when
from
you may I
Thursday.
ask which one did you start first?
So I started Boards by Bell first.
Okay, you started Boards by Bell first. Okay,
Yeah.
so
So
that was in
people,
December, and then sorry.
yeah, that was back in December. And then I just started Beauty by Bell probably about 2 months ago.
Okay.
So for those that don't know Boards by Bell, because they're probably like, what kind of boards does she do?
These amazing charcuterie
Yeah,
boards.
exactly. That's what I do. I mean, I have done like dessert boards or like breakfast boards. Pretty much I can do anything. Like if you have an idea, you see something cute on Pinterest, like you can show me the photo and then I can be inspired by it and then I'll put in my own little twist and then basically quote you on it.
No, and I love your plates look amazing. Like I was looking at one, it was small, but like it was a form of a tree. But oh my God, that was really cool. I've done boards myself because of the Hilton. We usually do when I was working at the Hilton, we did banquets and we do like charcuterie boards and whatnot. But like your boards are like up there, you know what I mean? Like they really are like professionally looking boards. Like
Thank you.
I would have never expected that, because I didn't even know you were in the food industry, to be honest. I was like, oh wow, that's cool.
I know. So you and I went to elementary school together, and we lived actually like down the street from each other.
Shout out to Oak
Um,
Park. Hey, actually, speaking
Oak
of
Park.
that, I was actually looking through some old photos, and there's an old photo of you at my birthday party. I think when we were fifth grade or fourth grade, you were at my
Yeah.
birthday party, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's freaking crazy that I'm gonna interview you in a few days." And I just found this. I don't know where it's at. I should have had that ready and showed it to you, but I'll send it to you later on. But
Yeah,
yeah,
no, I remember that. I remember that birthday party. Like I like growing up, I don't think I was shy, but I wasn't really out there with my personality. I kind of hung out with like the quiet girls that would always laugh at everything I said. So
yeah.
I just like love being around people that are like kind of like, in a little shell. Shout out to Jovita, my best friend from Oak Park. We're still good friends.
Oh no way.
Yeah, she's back in San Diego, and I actually, as soon as we got the interview scheduled, I was like, "Oh my god, guess what I'm doing?" And then she was just like, "Okay, wish you luck.
Oh,
Can't wait to
shout
hear
out to
you."
her.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so I wasn't really like shy back then, but I just wasn't really out there. And I mean, we knew each other since we were like 10. So, who
Yeah,
we are now is like way different than who we were back then.
exactly.
But there's still little, like, I remember you always being like super nice, like super like your laugh like is contagious. Your laugh is really contagious, and I listen to your podcast like every time you have a new video. I
Oh,
listen to it.
nice. Oh, thank you.
So
Thank you.
I'm like a big supporter of like what you're doing. And I remember you're critiquing yourself. You're like, "Oh, I laugh too much," and I'm like, "No, keep laughing. Like that's what I like to hear you laugh, because it makes me laugh." And I mean, I do look a little crazy when I'm listening to it because I'm at work and I'm listening to you on my AirPods, and I just start laughing, and people are like, "What are you laughing at?" I'm like, "I'm listening to a podcast. It's funny." Um,
I mean, we had a
you
lot
know,
of laughs on the last episode with William. I mean, and you remember William because he also went to Oak Park as well, and we were backtracking to when we were childhood stuff. And it's crazy, like you said, from where we are back then to now, it's we're totally different. And right now that we're actually on that topic, tell us a little bit about how that shyness kind of grew into high school, college years to now. Like how did your
yeah,
persona develop throughout those years?
yeah. Like, what makes Lina Lina
Yeah,
now?
right.
um, so, so in elementary school, it's crazy because you grow up and you have your family, you have your mom, your dad, and your sisters, and your reality is just your reality. Like, you don't really know your like financial situation. You don't know like the world really. Like, you're just living in it. You go to school, you have your friends, and you come home, and then you play with them until till it gets dark, and then you go home and you do it all over again. And like for me, so my parents actually are refugees from Vietnam. So
Mm.
I'm like first generation, and I actually like didn't know any English until I went to Oak Park, like in kindergarten. And
Wow.
because my parents don't know English, so they're not going to teach me English. So
It's
I
kind.
remember,
I'm kind of on the same side story. My parents. I'm the first generation here too as well. My parents were from Mexico, and growing up, I only knew Spanish as well. And same thing with you. I had to learn at school English, which was actually not bad. You know what I'm saying? Because now you and me, like we are so. I'm pretty sure you still speak your native language, and I still speak my native language, and we have more opportunities now, right?
yeah, exactly. It definitely molds us into who we are. Like, it just gives us a perspective, like I am so thankful that my parents did come here, and like, where they were seeking like better opportunity. And I think what that's what like gives me so much compassion for people that are just trying to live the American dream, whatever that means to them. So yeah, that's what brought me to where I'm at. But so let's talk about my story a little bit. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, so my parents are refugees. They settled in City Heights actually, and then we lived in Oak Park. Uh, I grew up in Oak Park, and I went to middle school with you. So I went to Oak Park, went to SCPA, and in in middle school, I was just like, when you're in middle school, you're like growing up, and you're like everything's changing, and you don't really know what you like. And SCPA was one of those schools where it's like, okay, what are you going to do? Are you going to sing? Are you going to dance? Are you going to do art? Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to be good at? And for me, it was just like, I like dabbled in a couple things, but I wasn't really passionate about anything. I knew I wasn't really comfortable with dance. I just wasn't like comfortable with my body. I didn't like having my hair up. They like would tell you to like suck in
Sucking your
your
gut.
gut. And I was just
Yeah.
like,
That's why I never joined dance. You know, I had a big gut.
yeah, it was just like, okay, this is a little awkward, like, and I just wasn't comfortable in my own skin. So it was like hard for me to be a performer. So you remember 8th grade, we had to audition back
Audition
into
back
the
into school.
school.
It was
And
the
it was
first
the
year that we had
first
to do that.
year. Exactly. It was the first year that we had to do that. So, SCPA usually is 6th grade to 12th grade. So I thought I was going to graduate from SCPA. I had like the same.
Which speaking of, actually, we're going back to what you said, like we're going into that middle school year of not knowing. We also had to deal with that, right? Like not, it wasn't like a regular middle school where it was just like to 8th grade. When we went to SCPA, we were kind of thrown in with the 6th grades, with the 12th graders, with the 11th graders. Like it was just, whoa, like it was kind of a different scene from us, from going from an Oak Park Elementary to a school where it's just like middle school and high school meshed together, right? And like you seen the passion too from the upperclassmen as well. So I see what you mean, where it's just like it's a little confusing going into that school of what you
Yeah.
want to choose.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I loved being exposed to like exposed to my creative side when I was there. I loved seeing people like, work hard and be good at what they did, and they loved it. And I mean, it's great to see a 6th grader invest so much time and energy into something like dance, and then by the time they're a senior, they're like professional. So I always thought that was really cool, but it wasn't for me at the age and stage that I was in my life. And I didn't even I didn't have a choice. I actually auditioned back into the school, but it was my first year in choir, and I auditioned back into choir because I was like, well, I'm not going to do dance.
Yeah.
So I decided to sing, and I got rejected, and that was my first time being rejected as a kid.
No way.
So it was low-key traumatizing. Like I was like, now I'm gonna have to go to the neighborhood high school, which was Crawford. And Crawford has a bad reputation. Horseman has a bad reputation. Anything I heard about Horseman was like, you're gonna get stabbed there. The kids there are bad. They're rude to their teachers. So I was like, legit, I was scared. I was like, I don't know nobody. I don't know anybody. Like I knew a few people, but they weren't like my best friends, obviously. So I was pretty sad, but I was just like, what can I do about it? There's nothing I can do about it. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't get accepted. I mean, they tell you like what in June in your 8th grade year, and you have to be enrolled at another school like September. So I didn't really have a choice. So anyways, I ended up going to Crawford. And at first I was really sad, but I wasn't I was in the same boat as other people. So like people that were going into high school with people they like never didn't go to middle school with, basically people that didn't go to Horseman. So I met one of my best friends still today. Her name's Jessica. We were in like a computer class, and we were just waiting for our classes to come up, waiting to be enrolled in classes. And I just was like, hey. And she's like, hey. And I'm like, I'm Lina. Like, what school did you go to? Like just make conversation and try to make friends.
Well, shout out to
And
Jessica.
shout out to Jessica. That's my boo. But so yeah, so I started going to Crawford, and it was like people wanted to get to know me too, because I was like the new girl, because most of the people did go to Horseman. So when they saw me, they're like, "Who are you? Where'd you come from? Like, what's your name?"
Ooh, you're like, what's up? What's your number?
Yeah, yeah. So I did about that. I did get into a relationship pretty quickly, like my freshman year, and anyways, I guess that is a part of my story. So I did get into a relationship with somebody my freshman year. His name was Kevin. Shout out to Kevin.
Oh, okay, cool. Shout out to Kevin. I didn't know if you guys were still cool or not.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, I don't have bad like bad
Blood or
blood
anything.
people. Like I have, it's all like a learning experience, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So we started dating, and I think it was more like as soon as somebody actually started caring about me, I started caring about myself, you know. I was like, oh yeah, like I should like care about my grades, and I should care about like getting involved in school and things like that. And so I did. And so freshman year and then to high school, I was like always involved in extracurricular activities. So
So like, were you like an ASB and all that?
yes, yeah.
Wow, look at
So
you.
I was I was involved in all those things, but come senior year, I was ASB president, I
Oh
was
wow,
class president, and I was cheer captain.
wow. Damn, look at
Yeah.
you.
So
And this is
yeah.
and this is a
So
lesson to all the listeners out there. Like even if you are timid, you know, you can get out of that box. Like you just had to, like you didn't know, right? Like you said you were timid in SPA. You were thrown in kind of to the wolves in a way in high school. You didn't know anybody. You were scared, but it ended up being more magnificent for you, right? Your journey, because maybe you probably wouldn't even have done that at SCPA, being an ASB president, cheer captain. Maybe none of that would have ever happened at SCPA, but because you made those moves, in a way, you were put in a situation where you had to, an adversity type of situation, where you kind of had to rise out of it, and you realize at an early age, you know, that you should love yourself. You should care more about what you put in your future.
exactly. That yeah, you said it, you spot on. Like I would have never had the opportunity that I did at Crawford. Like Crawford is such a small school and it's only high school. There wasn't really that many people that were taking initiative to like take on those roles, you know? And even if they did, I mean, I guess I just was just more qualified. People like elected me to be in those positions. Um, and I'm like forever thankful for everything that I learned at Crawford. Like there's really good teachers there that love you and support you and care about you. And I'm still like, you have like such a tight knit of friends. Like I have that with the people I went to Crawford with. Like
Mm.
I call them family, you know?
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
I truly, truly, truly believe like everything does happen for a reason. Um, and then like one step above that too is like when I was,
And I'm sorry to cut off, but that's
oh, no worries.
really cool. Like you know, me and my friends, and yeah, I'm pretty sure you know them as well. We've always talked about like we're so lucky to have that group so close and knit, you know. And I'm pretty sure you're the same way. You guys are so lucky to still be so close and well knit in together, even 10 plus years after high school. You know, because that's so hard for a huge group to be still good friends together for that long. It's such a hard and commitment as well to each other's friendship. So that's, I'm honestly very proud that you guys even have that too, you know, because we talk to other people, other people don't have that, you know what I'm saying? And a lot
No,
of people will also say like, I I don't believe in friends. Like, yeah, I can only count the friends on the five on the hand on the number of my hand, right? And I think that's ridiculous. Like I would never want to be that way. I'm so happy with the friends that I have, the close knit family that I have, and you're so happy with your close knit family that you have with Crawford. And you know, even within like with that personality too, is also because how you and me can interact as well, right? Because we both have that same experience. We both have that same kind of like communication, even from back then of elementary. It's like you and me, it's like we're talking like we have never stopped really talking, to be honest. You know?
no, it's something about like where we come from and our experiences that is like we're so open to people, you know, like we don't judge people. We because you just don't know what's going on in people's lives, you know, and so it's like the more interaction I can have with people, like the better. Like I genuinely love people. Like I'm like I'm like you. I'm like, let's talk. Let's have an interview. Like let me know your whole life story. Let me understand you a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Um because I think what you're doing is like you're really creating a platform for people to tell their stories. And when people tell their stories, it's like a gift. It's like, oh, I get to understand your world. And it's like, I get to learn from your experiences and I get to keep that with me. And like your words encourages me and it helps me to like, you know, keep doing what I'm doing, you know, reaching my goals. So for sure, I love all my friends. They know who they are. I probably should give them a shout out right now because I already
give them a shout out.
They're gonna be like, where's my name, Lina? Well, Kayla, love you. My husband, Patrick, actually met him in high school too. So I wouldn't have been.
High school sweethearts?
He was like after Kevin. He was like after the first guy. Because the first guy I was with pretty much on and off from freshman year till my first year of college. Yeah, so I was in a long relationship with him, and then Patrick and I were just friends, and then he's a year younger than me too. So with him,
we got Matt joining in really quick.
Oh, perfect. Matthew can hear about my husband. Hi.
There we go, Matt. How you doing?
Yo, what's up?
How are you?
Doing good yourself? Sorry about that.
No, you're good, dude. We're having a good conversation. Lena was just talking about, she's giving a shout out to her Crawford friends and husband. She's actually just telling us, Matt, that her kind of how we have our close-knit friends from ACPA, she has that same close-knit friends with Crawford people, with the Crawford
really?
friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's actually she's giving a shout out to her Crawford friends. And continue with your husband, the story about your husband.
So my husband was like the class clown and I was like ASB president. So now that people hear that we're together, they're like, what? Like, you know, and they're like, you and Patrick? And I'm like, yes, me and Patrick. He cut his big old afro. He got a six pack. And he has a good heart. So
the six pack killed it.
I snatched him up real quick. Like we started dating when he was a senior in high school and I was a freshman in college. So we've been together since then. We've been together for
robbing the cradle. All right.
Yeah. We've been married. We've been almost married for 6 years next week, and then we've been together for 9. So we've been
wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. We've been
together. You all grown up.
I'm all grown up.
I know.
Yeah. So shout out to my husband, Carmen, Jimmy. Who else? Lucia, Rebecca, Anaí, Abby. Yeah, that's pretty my mains right now.
So everybody
else,
you can give all
you know who you are.
you can give all the hot ones my number and I'll introduce you afterwards.
Okay, so the thing about me and my friends, okay, we're like dime pieces, so we're already taken up. Like,
okay.
They're pretty much all married and dating. So
wait, hold on, Nat. You and me got to talk after the show because Amir told me something last night about a friend of his.
Oh yeah.
A friend of his? That's a friend of mine?
No.
Amir, okay, because Amir played football for Crawford.
Right.
Oh yeah, you're right. He did.
I saw Amir a couple times. He actually was good friends with one of my girlfriends.
Oh my god, I totally forgot Amir
did
play.
That's right.
Yeah,
he
did.
That's
crazy.
Yeah. So and then we would always see Amir at like when he was doing like security at PB.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure we were like all in the clubs together and we just didn't know. We're like,
I mean, San Diego's such a small school.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
And I swear we have. Honestly, I think we have seen each other at a club. Like, because I'm pretty sure, shout out to Jasmine. With Jasmine, I saw you at the club. And because I know you've kind of been in contact with her too as well. Like, she's told me a few times that you guys still talk as well too.
Yeah, and I went to San Diego State like my freshman year of college, and so I remember, you know, they would have parties and things like that at school. So I would run into her and be like, "Hey, girl."
Good old STSU days.
Yeah. So
you're in college, and how's that experience?
Okay, let's get into that. Okay, so college was really, really, really hard for me. Like college, so like I said, I held all these like leadership roles in high school. and I was like an honor student and everything.
Yeah,
So,
you're always so smart. You're always so fucking
Yeah, you
smart.
oh,
were.
thank
No, you
you.
were always so
I'll give that to
smart.
you.
I'd always try
I
to
don't know.
copy you off in elementary.
I
Like,
don't know. I don't know. I don't know how.
what's 2 plus 2, Lena?
I really don't know how I got it, but I don't know. I just did. So I think what it is like I don't think of myself as smart, but I think I'm a hard worker, right? So I think
Right.
I will do what it takes to have a good grade. Like it's like, oh, like in high school it was easier because it was like, oh, I need help with something. Okay, I have a free period. I'm gonna go to my teacher, and then we're gonna,
Right.
go through all of this vocabulary words, and I'm gonna make sure I know it.
Hmm.
But in college, I was like, oh my god, it was such a big transition from like a small school.
Hmm.
So Crawford had 4 small schools within the school.
Right.
So it was
At the
about,
educational complex
It had
system.
4 small schools?
yeah. So it had
Yeah, in
four
terms of
small
educational
schools.
complex.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So basically there was like, it was kind of like focuses,
Hmm.
So you
Hmm.
would have like one school was law and business, the other school was champs, which was like medical, and then
Hmm.
there was MBAS, which was multimedia visual arts school.
Hmm.
That's where I went to. And then
Hmm.
there was IDEA, which was like invention design education academy.
Right.
I went to MBAS, and so it's kind of interesting. Like you have 4 schools, you don't really know the people that are your age unless you go to the small school with them. But
Hmm.
you do like you will be able to like play sports with them, and like be in clubs with them, but you don't really know each other.
Oh, wow.
Um, so I was ASB president of MBAS, but there was other ASB presidents,
Oh,
Oh,
okay,
okay.
okay.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
but I was class president, so which is
That's
only,
senior class. One
yeah,
senior class. Got it.
Gotcha.
one senior class, yeah. So anyways, I was an honor student and all that good stuff. Um so when I went to college, it was
Hmm.
like a big like slap in my face because it was like, hey, you're not as smart as you think you are. Like
Yeah.
you need to take remedial math and English. Like your school, Crawford, did not prepare you for this.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
it was like so heartbreaking because you I used to be like, I had all my friends, everybody knew who I was. I walked around with confidence, and then like when I went to San Diego State, it was like a huge campus, like the class structures were like lectures, so it was like
Yeah.
so
It's
hard to learn. And
100 people and shit. 200 people.
I was just like, no, I need community. I need to feel
Hmm.
like I matter. Like I need to feel like I'm known.
Yeah.
And so and then you're just I kind of fell through like kind of like a, not like a depression, but I was pretty
You were kind of
like
lost.
I was really lost, and like my self-esteem was low, and then I was just like, oh man, I have to start from the bottom
Yeah.
now.
If you don't mind me
Yeah.
asking, what was your goal at the beginning when you went to STSU?
So so funny thing. So because like I'm first generation,
Hmm.
I was just like, oh, I need to do something that like is gonna make my parents proud. I need
Hmm.
to be a doctor or something that
Hmm.
makes a lot of money.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But my parents were just like, they didn't give me that pressure. They were just like, do whatever you want to do,
Hmm.
whatever makes you happy, like
Hmm.
do it for yourself kind of thing.
And
And
that's
then
really cool because not a lot of parents are like that, to be honest.
no,
Yeah.
especially, yeah, especially Asian parents, they get that kind of that stereotype, like,
Yeah.
oh. But my parents are just like very
That's
like
cool.
just loose with like the way they parented and things like
Okay.
that. But there's good and bad to it because it's like my parents were always working. Like they would
Hmm.
leave from like 8 in the morning to like 10 or 11 at night. So I
Hmm.
kind of like my sisters raised me.
Yeah.
um
Hmm.
yeah, and like because we're first generation and we're like Vietnamese American, they don't really show affection a lot.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like it's good that they were so hands off, but like sometimes you need that, like you need
Hmm.
that parent or somebody to be like, hey,
Yeah. Big time.
I'm proud of
You,
you.
you
Like,
know, sorry, like that's crazy to me, right? So I had a sous chef back when I was at Viejas in a bakery, and she was Japanese. She was from Okinawa, and a lot of the things that she told me that's very culture in the Asian is that it's not a very emotional emotional hands-on, like all the, like for instance, she would kind of get irritated when we'd ask like, oh, put a smile on, because I guess like to her, like it's kind of a, in their culture it was offensive to be like smiling and whatnot. And so it's crazy that you're like, you know, that you're saying that, you know,
Mhm.
you wanted that, you wanted the love and affection and whatnot. And you know, because I've always felt that love and affection from my parents, but when I didn't realize that in the Asian culture it's like that. It's kind of like an opposite, where it's like not too emotional, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the thing about growing up as first generation American. It's like
Because
I
you see like everybody else around you,
Hmm.
and
yeah,
like what
and
they get. Like you're going to sleepovers, you're going to birthday parties,
Yeah.
and you're seeing all this stuff, and then you come home and it's like, no, you know,
exactly,
like
exactly that. And it's like you watch movies and you're like,
exactly.
oh, like that's what moms
It's like,
do.
why don't you hug me?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
legit.
no,
Like
yeah,
no hugs, no kisses, no I love you. Like the way they show love is like, hey, I have a roof over your head. I feed
hmm
you.
and the lights are on.
You're good. You're golden,
Hmm
you know?
Yeah.
And then when I become old, you take care of me. And it's like, okay, like I got it. Like I understand. Like and
hmm
you know what? You just have to accept it and just be like, you know what? It's made me who I am now.
hmm
Um, and I love my parents for who they are and what they've done for me. And
hmm
you know, and they're not gonna. I'm not gonna fault them for something that they don't
No,
know,
not at all. Yeah.
right?
Of course.
Yeah, it's all about like
But I mean,
understanding and accepting your
and
life.
and at the end of the day, those experiences actually help you out, because then you, like for instance with me, right, like there's some stuff that I didn't agree with my parents but parenting, where now I can apply to with Thiago, you know, my son. And the same with you, like with I know you have dogs that are your kids basically, you know, but the
Yeah,
day with when you and Patrick are able to, you know, when you guys have kids and whatnot, you'll be able to also be like, this is the way I want to show love to my kids. You know, this is the way I
Right.
wanted love for myself. So this is the love that I'm going to share to my kids as well. So without those, you wouldn't have that as well.
Right.
exactly. Um, so going back about college age
Yeah.
or age years. So I ended up not finishing at SCSU. I ended up
hmm
going to Mesa College.
hmm
And that was fine. It's fine, you know, like I think society is just like so I think we were taught like go to school, like get a degree, get a good job. And it's just like it's not like that. Like
It ain't always like that at
it's
all.
not like that. Like not everybody has to go to school. Not everybody wants to go to school to do what they want to do.
Right.
I'm all for higher education. Good for you. Like go get your degree. Like I'm always gonna be like a cheerleader for whatever people's goals are in life.
hmm
But if going to school doesn't like help you reach your goal, like you're wasting time and money, honey. Like
Yeah.
don't,
Big time.
Yeah.
Big
You're
like
time.
right.
don't. So I
Yeah.
stopped going to Mesa. I started going to Mesa,
hmm
and I was just like, you know, at least let me get my associates, let me like get my degree,
hmm
whatnot. But also rewind. When I was a senior, so you were asking me about like what I was going to school for. So I was going to school for nursing for my
Mm,
parents,
okay.
but you know, you change your majors all the time, so it doesn't even matter.
All the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was going to
So true.
school like with the motivation to like make money. But
hmm
senior year, like summer, like after I graduated from high school, I actually started going to church.
Okay.
Yeah. So my parents are Buddhists, my
hmm
family's
hmm
Buddhist, but they don't really like practice it. They just
hmm
say like we're
It's like
Buddhists.
it's more of a cultural thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But we
hmm
didn't like go to temple. We basically grew up with no religion, basically.
Right.
So when I started going to church, I went to a camp called Woodleaf. It's like
hmm
it's by Young Life, which is a
I know
organization.
what it is. I
Yeah,
know this.
you probably heard of Young Life. I don't
hmm
know. It's pretty known. So
I'm sorry. Sorry.
it's
No,
okay.
you're good.
No, you're good. You're
I went to camp and then I actually like found Jesus and then I
hmm
was saved. And then from there it was like my whole life just changed. Like my whole purpose in life changed. Like money wasn't a motivator for me. Getting a degree wasn't like a motivator for me. It was like it's like, oh, like who is this Jesus guy? Like
Wow.
like what does he need to tell me in my life? Like what brokenness in my heart does he need to heal, you know? And then how is he going to use my experiences to help heal others?
Wow.
So I was
How long
legit.
was this? How long was this camp?
Oh, it was, how long was it? It was like, I want to say it was like a week and a half or like something like
Oh
that.
wow.
But it's like, it's hardcore. Like they do like, it's so fun. It's like, you're there with like all these other kids from different like young lives and whatnot, and then you like get to go swimming. They do like a cowboy night where you get to like, you know, dress up. They have like obstacle course like day. They have like skits. It's just like a whole, it's like youth group. It's like a whole
Yeah,
day.
yeah,
Yeah.
So
wow.
yeah, so I came back and then I started getting involved with urban life, which is what my pastor was like. He grew up with young life like fundamentals, but then we changed the name to urban life because we're like in City Heights, so we're like, let's change it. So then what was I gonna say? I legit told my pastor, his name is Jake Metcalf, shout out to Jake. I told him,
Jerk.
I was like, I don't want to go to school anymore. Can you just hire me and can I just be on staff with Urban Life? Because basically the leaders of Urban Life would be mentors to young kids. So the mentors of Urban Life would go on campus, like at Crawford, and then they would like, you know, lead leadership classes in ASB, or they would become like a baseball coach for the baseball team, just to like build relationships with
Right.
kids, and then be like, hey, guess what? We have youth group like Monday nights, like come through, you know. So that's how they would kind of recruit people. So I was like, you know, I was a freshman in college, and I was like, this is what I want to do with my life. I don't want to go to school. And Jake was just like, no, Lina, you have to, you know, you're going to learn how to be disciplined in college. Like you're too young right now. You just got to, you know, stick with the course. You don't got to get a fancy degree. Just get a degree, you know. That didn't happen. I didn't get a degree. I ended up, I ended up getting married. My husband joined the Army and he was stationed in Oklahoma. And I was like, okay, this long distance thing is crazy. Like, what are we doing? We've been dating for 3 years. So I basically was like, are we getting married or are we breaking up? Because
oh no, you gave him the ultimatum.
I was
You're
like,
one of those. You sound like every single one of my ex-girlfriends. It always came down to they're like, okay, are we gonna date or like never talk again? I was like, fuck, we'll just date. Damn it.
Yeah.
So
I
funny.
mean, like,
but you got a point though.
I have my reasons.
No, yeah, of course.
You know, but I mean, it's just like you don't want to waste your time, you know.
Yeah,
like
your time is precious. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like, and it's just like I because I don't have like a close relationship with my family so much, or I didn't when I was growing up. I was always just like, I'm gonna get married, I'm gonna have kids, and I'm gonna create this beautiful family that like, you know, that I didn't really have growing up. So that was like kind of like my motivators. And I will say I love my husband to death, and we've been through ups and downs and all that good stuff. But yeah, that wasn't the right way to like get a man to marry you. Like,
yes, I could have told you that one. Should have hit me up before you did that one.
100%, you know. But at the time I was young and I didn't trust God. Like I was really like, I'm gonna make this happen in my life. Like I'm not gonna just trust somebody I can't see. Like I was just like, I'm gonna make sure that, you know, I'm always gonna be loved no matter what, you know.
This is why Christianity is a faith-based religion.
It is.
Yeah.
See, but I didn't know that.
I know. You're learning.
You know, and I think that, like, you know, whatever, it doesn't have to be, you know, whatever your religion is or your values, those things make you who you are. Like those things are gonna determine your actions. your decisions and things like that. So, you know, I could get a little preachy because that's just, I basically became like the little church. I became a church girl. Like I was just
Hey,
like,
nothing's wrong with that. Some people,
Yeah,
people need to
nothing's
hear.
wrong
Hey,
with
people
that.
need to hear it, girl. Say what you got to say.
preach. But now I can fully say, you know what, I'm a whole person. God loves me, and my husband's just a bonus. I don't need him to like,
Right.
you know, tell me he loves me. Like
Right.
I don't need that. It's just a bonus. Like
Of course.
he's just my, you know, my other whole.
Yeah.
I'm a whole person, he's a whole person.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
No
and
caps here.
I get what you mean by that, right? I mean, you have to love yourself first before you can really truly love somebody else, right? Like that's
Exactly.
the same with
100%.
me and my fiance, right? Before I was with her in the earliest stages of our relationship, you know, I feel like I wasn't ready to be in a long-term relationship at that time, right? But now looking back to it, it's like I think I wasn't ready of myself. You know, I
Right.
wasn't of myself. And then once I really realized that, like, I was like, you know what? Why am I so worried? It was kind of like those insecurities of like, I felt like I needed love from multiple people or whatnot. But,
Mm-hmm.
you know, then with my fiance, it's just like I felt that love and connection where it's just like she made me feel like me, myself is enough what I need. You know, like you said,
Yeah.
she's a bonus. You know, but not in a bonus of like, oh yeah, you're just a bonus points or whatever. No, like your bonus of like, dude, I get to live the rest of my life with you, and that's perfect. You know, like it's
Exactly. And,
It's
and
a
and honestly,
beautiful thing.
like that's honestly like that's how my turtle used to make me feel. You know what I mean? Like it was like, dude, it's like
Oh, I remember
I'm like,
Turtle.
yeah, dude, it's like
Is
look,
that what was his name? Helicopter.
yeah, hell as her, and it's
Oh,
helicopter, yes.
sorry.
You know, but it was like, dude, we're whole people, like, you know, let's just do our thing, you know. So I totally understand where you guys are coming from with your significant others.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Yeah.
Helicopter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
rest in piss.
Yeah. So anyway, so we ended up coming back. So thing
He ended
about
up
him
coming back.
is he was a little bit of a bad boy. Like he was a little bit of a bad boy. He made
Oh,
bad
was he
decisions.
now?
Yeah. He was. I kind of like bad boys, but like they make bad decisions, but they're actually really really kind people with good hearts. But they're just like
Yeah.
trying to figure it out. You know,
You,
they
Yeah,
just
that's like me,
trying to
Alex.
follow the
See?
crowd.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
you know, look, earlier when I was looking at your profile, because he looked familiar, right? But earlier when you said he had an afro, I think that's when I kind of seen him around when he had an afro. Because I feel like I've seen Patrick before, but
Yeah, I definitely seen him
like I've
before,
seen him before. But then when you
but he
said he had
definitely
an
had long
afro,
hair. It was
yeah,
like
that's
back
when
in
you.
like high school time,
Yes,
like maybe a
exactly. When
little
you
after.
said afro, I was
Yeah.
like, then I think I really do know this guy. I think I've known him
Yes.
for sure, for
Yeah,
somewhere.
probably. He's, you
Yeah.
know, and he was a big partier and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, he ended up joining the army to kind of like start a new life away
Mm-hmm.
from like distractions.
Yeah.
Because I think I don't, because the reputation of City Heights is a little true. You know what I mean? Like there
Mm-hmm.
is still like gang violence. There is still like, you know, domestic violence. There's
Mm-hmm.
still you know, parents that don't know how to be parents. So then like
Yeah.
Yeah.
the kids grow up and they don't have any like initiative in life. And yeah, they
Yeah.
just,
I used to live in City Heights.
Oh, we know,
yeah,
man. I
they
was about
just,
to mention that actually.
where, I always thought you lived like Lincoln area. So,
No, so after high school, me, Amir, and our friend Sean, we moved to a house over on 39th and Redwood. It was a party
It
spot
was the
too.
party. It was
Party
the
oh,
spot.
party place. That's why it was.
Ooh.
39th and Redwood. Yeah. So my husband actually kind of fell more on like the bad crowd side.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
he ended up this is his story, but you know, I mean we were rocking together, so it's my stories too.
Yeah.
So he ended up getting kicked out of the army.
Mm-hmm.
He developed
Oh wow.
a drinking habit, so he
Mm-hmm.
became a alcoholic and
Mm-hmm.
then a drug addict. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we came back to San Diego. His mom passed, and so it just like was just life was
A
just
lot. Mm-hmm.
Spiraling. Yeah.
going down, 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 down. But thank God he knows God, and you know he always had like that voice of like I could make better decisions and things like that. And eventually he did. So he's been almost 4 years sober.
Wow.
Wow.
Congratulations to him.
Thank
That's
you.
great to
So,
hear. That's awesome to
Yeah,
hear.
that is really great.
That's
so
awesome.
we came back to San Diego. I ended up, and that's the thing about girls and me. Like, I'm just very resilient. Like, I'm going. Your stuff is your stuff, but like, I gotta do my stuff too. Like,
Right.
I can't just sit around and be sad about this. You know, like I have to still be in relationship with my friends and my family. I still have to go to
Right.
work. I still have to pay the bills. Like I still have to do all these things. And thank God I had a community of people that were supporting me through like
Big time. Big time.
his like struggles.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't have been able to get through it without them. But anyway, so we came back to San Diego. I ended up being on staff with Urban Life, which is what I originally wanted.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I ended up, and I was in the food industry like since I was like 16. So I worked at like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, Jack in the Box, and then I worked at like a mom and pop shop, a pizza shop.
Mm-hmm.
I worked at a sandwich place. I just worked at a lot of like little small businesses, and I
Mm-hmm.
always loved small businesses because of that. Because I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I actually matter.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
Yeah,
actually
right.
Right.
like
I'm not just
I'm
a
actually
number.
Yeah,
yeah,
you're right.
I'm actually needed here, and I'm appreciated here, and I felt like I was like contributing to their dreams, you know. So
Right.
I was just like, yeah, I love small businesses, and so when I got on staff with Urban Life, I ended up being on staff in like the kind of like the food industry. So I started.
Mm-hmm.
My partner was a chef. His name is Josh
Mm-hmm.
Gensel. Shout out
Mm-hmm.
to him. And we basically started a catering company.
Mm-hmm.
So he would like focus on the food part. I would focus on like the logistics.
When was
Like
Mm-hmm.
this?
this was, man, I want to say I'm really bad with time because everything just merges
I
together.
know, it just
Right,
blurred
But
it does.
I
together.
mean, I want to say it was like maybe 6 years ago,
Oh
something like
wow!
Okay.
that. I don't know.
That's when you first truly started your entrepreneurship. Then.
Yeah. So I was doing like the logistics part. We would train high school students because by then I was already like what 22 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And a passion of mine is like teaching kids, and I'm not like ashamed of my story. I tell them my story. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
listen here, listen to my experience. Don't
Big
do this.
time. Hell yeah.
Don't do that.
It's hey, that's what makes you
Yeah,
that's what
you're
makes
right.
you you. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
Exactly.
Like that's what makes you
Yeah,
you.
I'm very like an open book, and like
Same.
so uh, we did like weddings. We did
Wow.
um, what did we do? We did like private dinners, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually we got an opportunity to open up a cafe in the YMCA. So on
Wow.
Oh
El
wow.
Cajon Boulevard, Copley Price YMCA, shout out to them. They're still
Mm-hmm.
there. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
if you're ever around, stop by, have a coffee, a protein shake, whatever, and
I'm
Check
gonna
it
be like,
out.
I know
tell them
Lena.
tell them Lena sent you. But yeah, we basically it was like a counter, it was like a snack, like
Mm-hmm.
grab and go place, and
Yeah.
we basically turned it into a cafe
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
Mm-hmm.
cool.
from the ground up. So it was really cool to be a part of that experience. It was like,
Wow, that's awesome.
oh, like we got to choose the logo and choose the furniture, build the
Yeah.
furniture, like get the espresso machine like installed, learn about coffee, learn
Yeah.
latte art, yeah, all these things. So
What the heck?
we started that. After a year, Josh left and
Mm-hmm.
I became the cafe manager. So I was running the whole thing by myself.
Wow. Okay.
So I would hire the kids, I would train them, I would work behind the counter, like I would make coffee drinks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would
Of course.
prep like salads and wraps
Mm-hmm.
to sell because they
Mm-hmm.
actually have a kitchen in there. So I was like able to do that.
Oh,
I did like
nice.
caterings, things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
basically after that, about like a year after that, I was like, okay, I learned everything I learned. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel it.
now I have to live out the vision, which is to inspire kids to start their own business. So
Okay.
I couldn't be like, hey, you can start your own business. Yeah, just do it with somebody else's money. Like, no.
Yeah.
Like I had to be like, uh, bye guys, I'm gonna go actually do this on my own.
Mm-hmm.
You
Right.
know?
Right. Right.
And I love you guys and I'm thankful for you guys. Shout out to Urban Life. But I have to do this because I'm showing people that it can be done, you know?
Right,
Um,
right, right.
and and so that's what I did.
And so that led you to
Wow.
what you are now. To
Yeah.
board. Oh wow. So
Yeah.
how did Boards by Bell kind of start? Like where did? Because I know it's from coffee is very different to charcuterie boards. What got you the idea to do the charcuterie boards?
Yeah, like
Well,
why not? Yeah, why not like baked goods or
Yeah.
like or something else? You know what I mean? Or sandwich. I
um,
mean, like what? Why charcuterie?
yeah. So I was doing it like for family and friends.
Mhm.
And honestly, there's not a lot of risk in doing cheeses because I'm really just prepping it. I'm not
Right,
making the cheese myself, you know?
right,
So, like,
right.
when you're a cook, it's like you actually putting yourself out there because it's like your recipe and all that.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
for me, it was more like a safe route.
Okay.
Like who doesn't like cheese and crackers and fruits and all that good
Right,
stuff?
right,
Like,
right, right.
nobody's gonna not like it, you know?
Right,
And
right. You
so,
always have business.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like it's kind of like for me a no-brainer. I was like, okay, I can do it. It's like, quick, easy prep
Mhm.
work. And I just kind of learned how to make it look nice, and like I'm
Mhm.
still learning,
Of
I've
course.
only been doing it for a year, almost a year
Yeah.
now. And it's like I'm still
Well, even within that
trying.
year, your boards are looking amazing. You
Thank
know.
you. I
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
appreciate
I
it.
know. It's funny when Alex had told me about talking to you, Lena. I was like, the first thing that came to mind, I was like, sweet. I was like, next time I like score with a girl and like I'm gonna like take her on a sick date, I'm definitely gonna hit up fucking Lena for a boy.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, and Matt is big on cheese. Like he loves his
Oh yeah, I'm a
cheese.
fucking cheese
Yeah.
guy. I'm a
Yeah.
Yeah.
cheese
Well,
tried and true, baby.
well,
So
I can do it
yes,
for you.
I got you. But you gotta find a
But
girl first, but I'm gonna hit you up.
I mean, she's gonna come when she comes. I mean,
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
hey,
yeah,
don't
yeah.
the playoffs
Something
are
like
right
that.
now, bro. The playoffs are right now. You can just use it for yourself.
True.
gotta love yourself.
Yeah, you gotta love yourself, bro.
You deserve
Yeah.
some cheese.
Yeah, I do deserve to be taken on a date by myself. True. No, but go ahead,
Well,
go ahead.
so yeah, I started doing that, and then coronavirus happened. So I kind of was like, oh, like people are not really gathering. Like, I probably shouldn't be promoting like gatherings and things
Hmm.
like that. So I kind of was like, off of my game for a while. I was nannying at the time for my nephew. So I was really not like focused on the business. It was more like, oh, okay, I got some traction in the beginning, and then it kind of like mellowed out.
Yeah,
Hmm.
And it was like, I had to realize, like, you get what you put in, Lena, and you're not putting anything in, so you're
you're
not going to get
right.
nothing out. So I was
Right.
just like, all right, all right.
Yeah, that's all true.
That's
Yeah,
very
and
true.
then so coronavirus happened. So then that was when I stopped nannying my nephew, and because we were trying to be safe. And then I was just like, hey, I could focus on my business now. Like I was not with them for like 2-3 weeks,
Hmm.
and I was like, yeah, I could focus on my business now. And sure enough, like every day I would like post something, and I would get orders, and then
Wow.
I was like, okay, like all right, I guess I'm gonna do this. And
Yeah.
then I had to reevaluate, and then I had to tell my sister-in-law, like, I love you and I love my nephew, but I gotta focus on my goals.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she was just like she was supportive. She was like, shout out to Stephanie, love you. Um, but yeah, she was very supportive, and she was like, yeah, like whatever you do, like we just want you to be happy and we support you. So I was like, okay. So
Yeah.
I ended up like just refocusing myself, like, yeah, I should be focusing on my business, like that this is what makes me happy.
So,
Oh.
so right now that you said that so when you went to when COVID happened, and you started focusing on the business, what avenues did you start seeing that you were like what was the difference of before COVID and after COVID? Like how were you able to adapt to the situation?
Yeah, so the thing is, people were home, so they were bored. they
On the
they they they,
computers.
they were just like
Hmm.
not really knowing what's they weren't working or anything like that. They were kind of in
Hmm.
like a limbo, that's the
Hmm.
word,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
like stage. So you get on Instagram and then you start seeing like, ooh, this looks good, like
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you're like, okay, I want one, so then they order. So I think
Wow.
that was an advantage for me.
Hmm.
um but that's kind of just how I just started doing it, because it's kind of like the more orders I get, the more motivated I am. I'm like,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
It's
I got you.
that momentum.
yeah,
Exactly. That's a perfect word for it.
yeah,
I like
yeah.
momentum.
So yeah,
Definitely builds momentum.
so ever since uh coronavirus, I've been like every week I get like 2 3 orders, and then
Wow.
some weeks are slower than others, but I also just started introducing like luxury picnics,
Mm-hmm.
because now people, they're not having date nights really with their
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
husbands or boyfriends or things like that,
Mm-hmm.
but they can have a picnic.
That's
Yeah.
what It's funny that you mentioned that. Okay, I didn't know you're doing that because I was actually gonna say can I continue on with my half joking, half serious
Date.
talk date from earlier.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say I was gonna be like, dude, you should just organize the whole fucking thing for me.
Oh yeah. So
No, I was like about to joke around about that, and then you said that, and I'm like, oh no, shit, she'll legit do it. Like,
yeah,
perfect.
so more than um like cooking or food prepping, I love planning.
Mm-hmm.
Like I will plan your whole wedding for you. Like I love planning.
Oh,
So
we need a planner for our wedding.
yeah. So I mean, I can do it. So I did started doing picnics like probably like a month ago.
Okay.
You can see I've only done like 3 so far.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Because
I've
those,
seen a few pictures. Those are
yeah,
pretty
you
cool
saw
too.
some
Yeah.
photos. Yeah. It's really cute. It's like, it's a good idea. Like
And it
I
feels
can
very
do the whole
intimate.
thing.
It feels very
Yeah.
intimate too.
Yeah. And you don't have to, like, for guys, I mean, I don't want to bash on guys, but like if you like don't know what to do for
Oh
your
yeah, I never
lady,
know. I never know what to do.
it's
So.
like all you have to do is tell me the date and the time where you want it, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I got you.
Oh
And
You
I
hear it
yeah.
here, guys. You hear it here, guys. Lena Bell's got
Yes.
you.
yeah,
Lena's gonna get me laid. Oh,
yeah.
let's go,
I mean,
baby.
hopefully not at the picnic on my stomach and
Not
around
on the
You'll
boards.
people.
Not on the boards.
you'll be compensated very well. Don't worry about
Well, yeah, and the thing is, the
it.
picnics are obviously a higher price item because it
Of
does
course,
take me
of course.
Yeah.
a lot of planning, and then also like I also do prepare a board for you too. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you get everything's taken care of.
Of
I
course.
got your water, your sparkling water, your cheese,
Ooh, I'm so
and all
excited. I'm
that.
so excited
Sparkling
for
Yeah.
water and
this.
everything. Oh wow.
I'm
So yeah,
so
so I started
stoked on
doing
this.
that, and
Do you
some
do wine
people,
as well?
I do. I can make sangria, so I do sangria.
Oh, okay.
And then wine. I mean, I can purchase the wine and then just add it into your package.
Yeah.
So everything is always a conversation. It's like,
Of
hey,
course.
what do you want? How do you vision it? Okay, and then I type up a proposal and I show you like kind of like the
Okay.
look of it, and then I give
Mm-hmm.
you a quote, and then it's like you approve it, and then we're on.
Yeah.
Or
Got
you
you.
send a deposit, and then we're on.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
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 yeah.
you
so I
gotta
mean,
send
I
that deposit.
learned all of this stuff when I was catering, so I'm pretty
Yeah.
like, I try to do things well and professional
Very
and
professional.
approachable though. Like I'm really approachable. I'm just like let's talk. Ask me. I mean, you don't know until you ask, right?
Yeah,
So
you're
Of
right.
course, of
um,
course, of
so it's
course.
like what you want, like I can do for you if I can. But if I can't, I'll let you know. And
Right, right.
You should really look into the wine part. I say this because I know wine, like pairing wines to stuff would help you a lot, because a lot of people who don't know about wine or don't know about cheeses, if you people be like, well, I don't know what to pair with this, you know what I'm saying? So like you'd be like, oh, if we had this package, this wine goes perfectly
Yeah,
with
very
this brie
true.
cheese, with this
hmm
monster cheese, or whatever cheese you have, or even prosciutto, whatever deli
yeah,
meat you really have on there as well. So
yeah,
you should
for
definitely
sure.
look into the wine part, because wine is a big thing, and it
Yeah,
could be a big seller for you too, I feel.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
and I love wine. I'm a big wine drinker. But so for me, I totally. I mean,
No, no, I'm just joking.
but for me, it's more like I don't want to like also get in trouble. Like I don't want
Yeah.
people to be like drinking in public
Oh, I get
because
what
you're
you
not
mean.
supposed to
Oh,
do
that's
that.
true. I didn't
Yeah,
think
that's
about
true.
Um,
that.
You're right. You're right.
and then like selling
Damn, Alex
alcohol,
trying to get her
like
arrested, motherfucker.
If it's a home
but-
event, maybe.
I know.
You
Yeah,
Hey,
if
she's doing a board for like an 18-year-old. It's like a bottle of wine out there. Like
yeah, I mean, some places like the beach, you're not even supposed to
Yeah.
have glass, you know.
that's
So,
true. I hella
and
forgot about
I
that.
see people, because I see people
But
doing
like you said, everything's a conversation.
everything.
Conversation.
It's like I'm gonna need you to sign this waiver to be like you're responsible for everything.
Yeah.
after I
Right.
leave.
You're responsible for your bail.
I love you. Thank you for your support, but I can't, do all that. But
Exactly.
yeah, but for sure, something like that. And I do like making drinks too. Like I actually took like bartending courses and things like that. So
Nice.
Oh, wow, nice.
yeah, like I want to be like
Like a little jack of
good
all
at, good at
trades.
like everything
Yeah.
I do. But it's also like you have to acknowledge too that like, everything is a process. So you
Of
do
course.
start from somewhere and then you grow. And
Of
then
course.
as long as you're teachable and you're willing to acknowledge that and be humble, like,
Mhm.
and then that will come along,
Right,
So
right.
that's just how I think of things. But yeah.
And how did Beauty by Bell started?
So that I just like I'm a busybody. Like I don't like to like do nothing. I don't like to just sit around and watch TV. Like I just never liked that. But I think because in high school I was always like, go to this meeting, do this, do that, do this, do that. So like when I started only doing Boards by Bell Thursday to Sunday because I was like, well, it's not really worth it to be open like Monday to Wednesday because people are not really having events that day. And like it's better for me to stock up on supplies like for the weekend
Yeah.
that can go to like 3 boards or whatever than just like
Right.
do
One
one
board a
board
day.
only on a Monday. Like it's
Yeah.
so I started doing that, and then it's like another way for me to be creative. So it's like I just like working with my hands. So I started seeing people make these beautiful like clay earrings, and then I was just like, I want to do that. I'm gonna do that. And I was like, I'm gonna do that, and it's gonna be fun because with jewelry, with
I
boards,
love that attitude. I love
Yeah.
it.
with boards and jewelry, it's like there's no limit. I can make all these different theme boards. Jewelry, I can make all these different color shapes, fabric, like earrings. So like for me, it's like I'm building a foundation that I can grow on for years.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Years and years,
Definitely.
and
No,
I can hone on. Those are my 2 like skills, and then like years from now, I'm gonna be like perfect in it
Oh,
or
of
close
course.
to perfect.
My hole in my left ear is still open, so keep that in
I
mind.
haven't done anything for guys. I'm wearing my
Hey.
earrings right now. I don't know if you can see.
You might.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
I
I
saw
see
it
it.
earlier. Yeah, I saw that earlier.
Yeah.
Did I rock that? I just rocked one of them. Fuck it, it's chill.
You gotta
Yeah,
make
Give me
one for
something to rock.
you gotta make one for West Coast Initiative.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe some studs like
Right?
black
Yeah, give me
with
some.
gold or
Give
something.
me some dope, dude. That's one ear for a dude. You come up with the idea. I'll pay for it. You just come up with the idea.
So what's as an entrepreneur, everybody like for instance me, I've had a couple failures, but I've learned from those failures. What has been some of your biggest failures and what have you learned from those failures?
I think for me it's like don't be so hard on yourself. Like I think sometimes we like are limited by time, maybe like and just other responsibilities. And then like sometimes I give myself a hard time, like, oh, like I forgot, like, oh, I forgot to put like craisins on there, man, and then it's like something so small, but it's like big
I
to
love
me,
craisins.
I
do.
And I'm just like,
it's like that perfection that you
craisins
want.
are good. They're sweet, like with
They're so
on
fucking
salad.
good.
I have a whole bag anyway. So like I like stress myself out. I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna message me and be like, where's the craisins? Like, you know, like you said you were gonna put craisins. Why didn't you put craisins? And I'm like,
And
oh,
there is people out there that are like that.
yeah.
We
And
have
No,
I'm
to
for
just
have
like,
sure, for
man.
sure.
And I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to give them $5 back. Like, you know, they're gonna be like, she said she was gonna give craisins and she didn't, you know. But like, you
all
know,
over
but
craisins.
Spoken like a true perfectionist.
so then I'm just like, and then I'm just like, chill out. They're gonna like it, and if they don't like it, I mean,
You know,
then they don't like
you learn from
it.
it. Yeah, you learn from it.
Yeah, then they don't
Hmm.
like it, and
Yeah.
there's nothing. I mean, they gave me a chance, and I blew it, and it's fine. And hopefully,
Hmm.
other people will give me a chance. You know?
And that's true
Hmm.
because I think when you're so hard on yourself, you actually limit yourself of even going a step further, right? Because
Yeah.
if you're like like you frustrate yourself sometimes to a point where you kind of like even just quit, you know, and like you're
Mm-hmm.
not like you definitely didn't quit, you definitely learned from it, but there's definitely
Yeah.
people out there who get too frustrated, or let's say they start their business, they don't see something coming up within the next 2 months and they just quit. They're like, oh, this is nothing. Like you barely even put any effort. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Hmm.
And you can't be hard on yourself on those moments. Be hard on
No.
yourself, of course, to raise the standard of your product. But if you mess up, learn from that mess up, right? Like
Exactly.
my friend Juan Carlos from Cribs of Wolf Boxing, shout out to him. He he has an interesting way of when I met him in the bakery, because we worked together in the bakery, he always had told me he doesn't ever make mistakes. That was his mindset, right? He doesn't make mistakes. And I
Mm-hmm.
never really got that until you kind of explained to me. And it's like, well, yeah, like if what you call mistakes is something that I call I'm learning, you know? Like those mistakes are meant to be so that way you can learn from it and then keep on, improving from those. So mistakes are always needed, right? Because they're your
Mm-hmm.
learning curve. And
Exactly.
like what you said, like if you made a mistake, so put in the craisins and like you learn from the next one. But
Hmm.
like, all right, maybe I need to have a checklist. This is what this person had, this form. Do we have this here? Do we have that there? Because that's happened to me, of course, too, in catering moments where like we forget something and then the client's actually pissed. And these are
Mm-hmm.
clients that are from like the Hilton, right? They're paying a lot of money. So they definitely demand they are definitely on a high demand of what they want,
Yeah.
because whatever they don't see on there, they'll definitely be like, hey, Hilton, you didn't put this. Now you got to reduce me a little $500. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Right, right.
and but like you said, like as a small business, those are the mistakes that we learn at the beginning and we
Mm-hmm.
improve on those mistakes,
Yeah.
and that's really good that you say that
Yeah.
about that aspect.
And another thing I would say is like, don't compare yourself to other people, like
Mm-hmm.
big time. Like it's so hard because, somebody in the world is doing what you're doing,
Yeah.
you
Right,
know, and they might be doing it better than you. And, and that's okay because they're in their stage and you're in your stage, and just like
right.
focus on yourself, like focus on what you're doing. Because, if I do like sometimes compare myself to other people, and I'm like, oh, like, oh, they got a lot of followings and they only started like a month ago or whatever. And I'm like, why am I doing that to myself? Like, I don't need
Hmm.
to do that to myself. Like, I don't need to compare myself because, there's almost 500 people that care about what my business is doing. And I'm thankful for each and every one of them,
Right,
and
right.
it's like, and you have to think of it like that. Like, you can't think of it like, oh, more and more and more, because I mean, honestly, I can't handle more. Like, I have a whole,
Right,
I'm still working. I'm a whole ass wife, and a
right.
dog mom. I'm a
Hmm.
sister. I'm a
Yeah.
friend. And it's like, like maybe one day, yeah, but right now, this is good for me right
It's little by little, you're just
now.
stepping up little by little, and that's
And,
true. Oh, sorry, Matt, go ahead.
no, and I was just saying that's so unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, but that's so typical of this age of like social media. Like comparing yourself to others. It's because like every time you open up your laptop, or you look at your
Mhm.
phone, or whatever, it's like you see somebody doing something. You know what I mean? And it's like
Mhm.
it's hard to not be like envious. You know what I mean? But but something that something I abide by, and Lena probably you too, but like the Bible teaches us not to be, you know what I mean, and you
Yeah,
can't be
no.
jealous of stuff, and it's like, and like you said, it's like you said, they're at their stage and you're at yours, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like it is what it is. Like there's a point in time that person didn't have shit either, you know what I
Yeah,
mean,
you're
or
right.
any followers, or there's a point in time when that person just came up with the idea to get their business started and they had nobody that knew about it, you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So like you said, it's you're in your stage, they're in theirs, and that's totally fine. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yes, okay.
And yeah, it's like, and that's something that like, it's like, it's crazy that we have to like tell ourselves that, but we do. And for some people, that's like easier said than done. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Like some people like really, that really gets to them. So,
Yeah.
you kind of putting that message out there, I think is great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Because that's just something that like I said, just like I said, I have a niece who's 12, and I have a little cousin that's 8 and another one that's 6. They're getting into the social media thing and whatever, and they're going to school, the little ones are going to school or whatever, and it's like that's something like, I definitely tell them like like don't listen to the BS, because they're kind of growing up in that, whereas the social media kind of came along for us, like when we were
Yes.
at a certain age, they were born in it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like it's different, you know what I mean? So like I
That's
think that's
kind of what you and me talked about in our episode too, right?
exactly
About how we didn't grow into that. Now it's very different of like the social media.
Mhm.
Social media
yeah, and
world.
it's like so that's something that like I think that's just like a message like that just needs to be like really put out there to to not just the kids. I'm not gonna say it's just kids that get
Kid,
affected
no.
by everybody,
No.
but that's just a message that needs to get put out there more, like more than it is. Like, dude, don't
Yeah.
And
get caught up in the hype, dude. Like just
it's
do your
also
thing and keep focus on yourself,
yeah.
better yourself, and just that's all you need to worry about. You know what I mean? Like and don't be envious, don't be jealous. Like be happy for other people. Like if they're
Yeah.
doing good, like hey, awesome.
And honestly, and
Like
it's also
that's it.
perspective, right? Like you might be hard on yourself, but like I'll look at other podcasts, right? Other Instagram podcasts, and I'm not like comparing our podcast to other,
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, like why are they getting more followers or anything like that?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, well, what are they doing that's also working for them? What is something that I can do? Maybe I can switch this up.
True.
It's like
Exactly.
it's a
True.
perspective way. Like you can't be impatient, because if you're impatient, you're not gonna go nowhere. You're just gonna give up and go back to the same thing. It's
Mhm.
like for this, like for instance, this podcast, right? I don't really care if we have as many followers at the beginning, because this is a long-term podcast, right? This is
Right.
for the long run. So on the long run, we're gonna get our fans. You're gonna get your fans in the long run.
That's right.
Don't think about the short term. Oh, I don't got these amount of followers. Okay, do those 200 followers actually order from you? Probably not. Probably like
Right.
Mhm.
15 to 50 or so ordered from
Mhm.
you. You know what I'm saying? You grow up your volume, and even if you get like 1,000 to or 10,000 K followers,
Mm-hmm.
you still probably won't get all 10K followers at the same time ordering from you, right? It's just
Right.
this is a long-term process where
Yeah.
like you're building
Exactly.
an audience, you're building a platform for yourself, and you're learning on the way.
That's
You
right.
know,
And what I think what you guys are doing is like you're creating a platform for other people. Like because everybody that you guys interview, I'm like, let me check them out, let me follow them, let me show them love.
Yeah,
yeah,
And
that's one
like
of
that's
our
the point.
goals. I'm
Yeah,
and
so
it's
glad you
like
recognize that. Thank you so much.
no, like seriously, like what you guys do is so important. Like because you like saw that there was a lack and then you created a solution. You're like, okay, why aren't these small businesses like like getting all the credit that they deserve and
yeah,
need and like exposure? But it's like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because we don't have the time, resources, or like to do
Mm-hmm.
that. But like all like when people tell me, oh yeah, I want to support you, like you don't have to buy from me to support me. All
Mm-hmm.
you have to do is like my stuff, share it, tag it,
yes,
DM me, like, you know what I mean? Because maybe
Mm-hmm.
you're not buying it, but maybe whoever you share it to, they buy it,
yeah,
or
exactly.
Right.
Because maybe it's not for the person, but it's for the person they know. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
The
And
more
I don't,
exposure, the better.
yeah, and I don't care if you don't buy from me, like, because you support me like on a human level, and it's just like, I love you, you love me, like that's just how we're gonna show each other
Right.
love, and so, I mean, thank you for what you guys are doing, and you guys have great messages. Like I literally do like listen to every episode. Like
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Lina. We appreciate it so much.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Um,
Damn.
what? So right now that you say that we're on that topic about like other people not having to worry, right? What do you think is most important to a small business? Is it the discipline? Is it staying positive? Is it being diverse with your product? What do you think is more important in your business?
yeah, so I think that for me, my business is just like a vehicle in like what I value in life.
Mhm.
Okay.
So like my business is not what I value. It's like I value I value like people spending time with each other, like being
Mm-hmm.
relational with each other. So if you are with your boo and you guys are like celebrating your anniversary, like I value that, you know, and I'm just
Mm-hmm.
being a part of like your little moment, you know. So for me,
Mm-hmm.
it's like I value that, you know, and I value, um, you know, like if there's like a mom that just been quarantined with her kids, and she just needs like a little reminder that somebody's thinking of them, like that for me is like I value that, and I just get to
Mm-hmm.
help coordinate something. I create a
Wow.
product where it allows people to like show love to other people. So for me, it's all about relationships. Like
I love
I
that. I fucking love that, dude. That is
thank
that
you,
was so that was like so beautifully put. I just have to say that.
thank you.
No, I'm serious. I mean, I'm serious. That was
I was
awesome.
like, you guys, I don't know, you guys know who you're talking to because I could talk for hours. I have so much that I've learned in my life, like
Yeah.
so many values that I have, and like, you know, and I want to share those things. And I think
Yeah.
when I talked to Alex, I hit him up. I was like, oh my god, I think podcasts so cool. I probably might start one day,
Oh
like
yeah.
one day,
Yeah,
but like
definitely.
far along. But anyway, so I and I didn't come up with all these values by myself. You know, there's
Of course.
people that you know mentored me and poured
Hmm.
themselves into me. So now I have that. Now I
Yeah.
have
Of
that
course.
like purpose and understanding of life. You know,
Hmm. Hmm.
Mhm.
so I will say relationships. So your relationship with your customer, your client, your supporter, whatever you want to call them, I think that matters more than anything. So if you're somebody that wants to start a small business, like I think you should care about what your followers like,
The relationship with your
the
followers.
relationships with them. Yeah, it has to be
Hmm.
genuine. It can't just be like, you know, a
This is my product. Here you
transactional.
go.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
just can't be like a transactional thing, you know? Like
Right.
I mean, like you don't need to like do everything they suggest, but it's just like, and you do have to be able to say no when you like need to say no.
Hmm.
Hmm.
You also need to know your value. So you also need to know like, you know, you're saying no because that takes time, and time is money, you know?
Hmm. Hmm.
And or like, oh, you want that extra? Okay, well, you want that extra? It's gonna be extra
Right. Right.
Yeah.
because it's gonna cost me to like do
Of
that for
course.
you, you know?
Of
Yeah.
course.
And it's not, and it's and I love you and I want to do that for you. So, but it's gonna be at this price, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
And
Right.
that
Right.
and that's a hard thing for me because when I started in December, I'm like half the price that I am now.
Hmm.
Mm.
I
Hmm.
started gradually raising prices because I was just like, I want people to enjoy it, but now I need to make it worth it for me.
Yeah. The
Of course.
value.
Of
Right.
course.
Your
Of
value.
course.
So that's
Of
hard.
course.
That's something hard for me
Yeah.
because it's like, you know, but
I see how that can be
Because
like
a
pretty
lot of people,
hard.
I mean, a lot of people want to, you don't get me wrong, like people want to do it for free, right? But you can't do it for free because you still need to provide for your family as well.
exactly.
And you
Exactly.
also, and if it's also putting back into your business as well, you know, being able to develop it more, being able to grow it more, because I'm pretty sure most of the profit that you're getting is not really profit. It's going back into the business,
Oh
you know,
Lord,
to keep
what's
going.
profit?
Yeah, right. And
Especially when you're
yeah,
building something, it's like you're not gonna see
you're not,
profit, you know, for at least the first year,
Yeah.
and then
or
like
more. Yeah,
or
or
you're
Yeah.
not
more. Yeah.
gonna see change. I think I say like you can't really see change in the world or your community unless you've
Hmm.
been doing it for at least 10 years. You know,
Mhm.
like you said, it's the long run. It's the
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it's all about.
That's the
it's the
marathon.
game. It's a long, yeah, it's a long run. You know,
Like
and
it's like starting a business is like it's an investment. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not just talking money. It's a bigger. It's more of an investment when it comes to your time than anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
it is.
and it's like if you really want to start seeing returns and you know, in all sorts of ways, it's like you're gonna have to really invest a lot of time into this. Like,
And
Yeah.
emotion too. 'Cause it's
right,
also
that too,
emotional
for
too.
sure. I can
So,
imagine. I can
yeah,
imagine.
you know.
Yep.
And but yeah, I mean, that's great that I'm happy that you're like going on with these, because most of the stuff that you're answering goes along with the next question, right? So like you said about mentorship.
We just vibe with each other, you
Right.
know. We
Because
just vibing.
because you said that you learned a lot from other people in mentorship and whatnot. Who has been like your biggest role model or your biggest inspiration so far?
Let me think. I can't really. I always answer that like with just multiple people. You
Of
know,
And
course,
that's
and
fine.
that's
you
how
know,
That's
like
how it
it's
Alex and
not
I
is.
did an
just like
episode with just us, and
one.
we did the same thing.
We
We
did the
answered
same thing,
multiple
yeah.
people.
Yeah, it was just like it wasn't just one person. But I would say like my friends, my family. I had Jake Metcalf, which
Hmm.
was the
Hmm.
pastor. I had
Hmm.
Michelle, she was my leader. I had Ramen, he was like a part of staff as well. He's my friend. Kind of like you start off as like a mentor student relationship, and then you become
Hmm.
friends. You know,
Hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
I'm older now, so now that you think about it, you're like, oh, we're not that much like there's not a
Yeah,
big
yeah, it's
difference
not
in
a
Yeah.
big
age.
age difference.
But
Yeah,
when you're in high school, you're like, who's this like older guy trying to talk
you're
to
like,
me?
damn, this dude's 20 years old. What the fuck?
Yeah, you're like
Yeah, yeah.
oh, you're in college, or oh, you're married. Oh my goodness, you're old, you know. But
Yeah.
it's like we're about to be 30, and I still feel young, and I'm like 30 is a new 20, like. And I have to
Somebody said that to me in line at the gym the other night. This dude was
20s and
18.
your 30s.
This I kid you not, this 18-year-old kid just joined the Navy. He's like asking me for life advice, and I was like, don't get a girlfriend in your 20s. Don't do. I'm just like telling him all this stuff, right? And so then the kid's like, he's like, how old are you? And I'm like, man, I'm 29. I was like, I turned 30 in March. He's like, man, 30 is the new 20. And I was like, no, it ain't. I was like,
I mean,
I was like, trust me, if next year I'm doing the same stuff I was when I was 20, I'll be dead in a week.
yeah,
I'm just gonna
no.
put it like that.
Okay, I
Oh
see
yeah.
that. I see that.
Physically, we're definitely not in the 20s,
Yeah.
but mentally,
But mentally
yeah,
though, yeah,
yeah.
no, like for sure, like
I think it's more like how I think of it is like it's more like we're still young. Like there's
no, that's
no,
exactly,
you know, like, and
exactly,
also like I think
100%,
when we're young, like we think 30 is old, right? But it's
right.
like now that we're 30, we're like,
It's like
oh,
it's not that
like
old.
it's like, oh, like I'm actually finding out who I am and what my passion is and like how I want to live the rest of my life, you know? And it's
I
like,
know.
and it's not too late. Like it's never too late to just like really evaluate your life and be like, hey, what
Yeah,
am I doing with my life? Like
yeah.
we only get one life. Like what are we going to do with it? You know?
Right. I know.
Am I
Because
happy?
now it's funny you say that because like now I'm the age now. I'm the same age as my mom. I'm the same age now as my mom was when she had me. You know what I mean? And I was like thinking about that. I was like, holy shit. You know what I mean? Like I
So
used to
now
think
you
she
think
was
about having a
so
baby?
old. I don't know that. Well, no. You know, of course, eventually, of course, you know, a little Matt
Yeah,
Jr., a
That's
couple of Matt
okay.
Juniors running around. Yeah,
yeah.
eventually, yeah. You know, when I meet the right, you know, girl, whatever. But you know, but I was just thinking about that, and I was like, dang, I used to like think, you know, like she's my mom, you know, so I think of her as being like way older. But I'm just like, oh my god, she was 29. Like I'm 29. Like
Mm-hmm.
Dude, my mom had me when I was 20, when she was 23, sorry. When she was 23, she had me. And I remember when I was 23 and I couldn't have the same thought of you and Matt. I was just like, damn, I can't believe she had me at 23 because at 23 I was I was partying everywhere. I was in City Heights with Matt partying at the house.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, you guys are only child, right? You guys
I'm
are.
an only
I'm an
child. I'm
only
an only child.
I'm an only child to my mom. I have two sisters on my dad's side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See,
Same.
huh?
As the same here. I'm an only child
Oh
to my
yeah,
mom and brother and sister on
yeah.
my dad's side.
Then, well, like my mom probably at my age, she had 5 kids.
Wow. Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's just like it was a different time then, you know.
Yeah. No. True. Very true. Very true.
True.
Things are a little different.
Yeah, and I tell you what, like having baby Thiago is definitely, you know, I'm glad that I have him at this age because I definitely experienced a lot of fun activities that I don't think I would ever been able to experience if I had a son at that time, right? I mean, I'm not saying I don't regret it at all. I love my son to death, but I definitely am glad that I was at this age to be able to have a son. You know, now that I'm leading into my 30s and leaving my 20s, which sadly leaving my 20s because you know, like mentally it's fine, but physically it's definitely a different, it's definitely 30s time, you know.
Right. No,
For sure. I mean,
time.
people always say like you're never gonna be ready for kids, like you know, and you know, I just believe in timing. Like everything happens for a reason. Like you know, and like I hear you talk about your son all the time, and it's like, yeah, he motivates you to do this because it's like you want him to grow up and hear the conversations you're having, and he's literally gonna be like, my dad was so cool. He was so well. He knew so many people. He was so kind, and he was so like educated on the world, and he had this like really awesome perspective on the world, and you know.
I'm gonna show him this. I'm gonna show him this exact part of this podcast.
I'm like,
you better listen to Lina.
He might just fast forward like 45 minutes.
Auntie Lina will talk to you.
Right, Auntie Lina will tell you what's up.
What was I gonna say? And that is like a big motivator for me because I don't have any kids yet, but I'm starting this business because when I do have kids, I want to be able to have some income while I'm raising my child. And I wanted always to be home when my kids come home from school. Like I was like, I want to be there physically for my kids. Like my parents were never home, like never. And so like, and it wasn't on them. I mean, they had to work, they had to do what they had to do. But I was like, I'm going to work, but I'm going to work from home with my baby on my time. And then my husband can work too. He can bring home some bread too. That's fine.
Does your husband help you out with the business?
He does. He helps out like sometimes when I have deliveries and things like that. Sometimes I will have to have deliveries, but I have to be working on another one for like a pickup or something like that. Because I don't make them like a day in advance. I make them usually like an hour before they have to go because I want to make sure they're fresh.
Right.
I mean, they'll still keep good. Like if you put it in the fridge and then you take it out like whatever the next day. But I just like it determines like if I'm gonna cut the strawberry or not. You know, if you're gonna get it later, I'm gonna keep the strawberry whole. But if you're gonna eat it like now, I'm gonna make sure it's cut,
slice it up and fan it out,
ready for you to eat. You know.
Right, that's true because
so he does.
Sorry, continue.
Yeah, so he does help me out and he supports me. He's like, you know, whatever you want to do, you can do.
That's
and
right.
in the beginning, he was just like, how much you charge for that? And I would tell him, he'd be like, nah, that's too little, you know? And I would be like, I'm just starting off, babe. Like, I don't want to, like, you know.
It's those trial and errors.
You don't want to set a price and, like, you know, scare them. You want to, like, be reasonable, you know? And it's always like, I want to charge what I would pay for something, you know? Like, I don't want, you know, to be overpriced or whatnot.
Yeah, because then you'll be hearing other people will be talking and be like, no, Boards by Bell is way too overpriced, you know, like, and you don't want that at all. You want people to be coming and recoming and stuff like that. So I think pricing is always a challenge for everybody because people want to maybe price at large, but they're also worried that they're pricing too much, you know? So it's always like, it's a weird way to like, even for us, right? Like we have a janitorial business, like we're still learning on how to give quotes, how to price out our quotes and whatnot. Even when I had the meal prep, it was a little tricky of like, okay, so like, should I say have a standard, like it's $9 a meal, $10 a meal, or should I, you know, really cost it out? Like, well, how much I put into this plate, maybe this plate should be costing $8 compared to $9, or maybe I'll do a deal. It's pricing is a very weird, confusing.
Yeah, that's I feel like that would get me big time.
Yeah, intimidating factor because it really is an intimidating factor once you come to once you start talking about money, like the business idea is perfect, but once you start talking about money, what your pricing is like and all that stuff, that's where it starts getting like more complicated, more like, and I've heard it from people. I don't know how to price. Like, I don't know, maybe I should do this, or it's just, you have to kind of go with it. You just kind of, even if people reject you, like, okay, like for instance, we just put this table up on OfferUp, right? My fiance put it for like, we put it, I'm not gonna lie, we put it like a little high price because we want to get the most money out of it we can.
Of course.
It's been up there for a few days. All right, well, let's drop down our price a little bit, not too much, just a little bit. Maybe we can sell it. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's how you're learning on that aspect too, right? And but my next question is going to be like, how can you tell someone where to start? Like if they want to start their own business tomorrow, like what resources or what ways were you able for you to start your own business?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So for me, I would say try to get your foot in the door, like to somebody that's doing what you want to do, or at least in the same field, like, okay, get a little bit of experience, like see how they do things, see what it takes to like, start your business, like, because then you get to see like you said, like you watch or listen to other people's podcasts because you're trying to get tips, So I definitely follow other boards, and I definitely follow like luxury picnics, and like, try to get ideas, like, because that is a way to find out your pricing too. You're like, okay, how much are they charging, and then you take in consideration, well, they've been doing it for longer, so they have like that experience. I don't, so I'm gonna, bring it back a little bit. So I would say definitely like be in contact with somebody that's doing it or something like it. And then I would say, like do your research, like see what other people are doing. And then for the other thing, it's like, just go for it, because you're gonna learn on the way. Like, you're not gonna know. People go to business school and then they try to start a business. They don't know where to start.
They don't know. Yeah. They still don't know where to start.
They don't know anything. So like,
exactly.
So for me, I'm just like, I didn't get the degree, but I did get a ton of experience, and like that qualifies me more than a degree,
Right.
And don't get me wrong, maybe I'm going to get to a point in my life where I'm like, okay, I don't know that, and I have to go to school for that to learn that part of my business. Okay, I'm down for it,
You'll do it,
but
right.
like,
or maybe at that point you have enough money to be able to have a payroll and have someone actually who's dedicated to that.
That's
and
very true.
And delegate that.
Pay somebody to do it.
Know your strengths and know your weaknesses, and like, okay, I don't like that part of the business, I'm gonna let you do it,
Right.
But for sure, like I had a friend from high school hit me up, Carla. Shout out to Carla. Anyway, so she hit me up, and we met up like for a snack. We were gonna get coffee, but we didn't know coffee places that were open. Anyway, so we met up, and then she was like, "How did you start your business?" And we had this hour-long conversation, and I was just like, "Girl, you just need to start." Like, she had the experience, she had the idea, she just needed to start.
And it's just it's that fear factor, right? That people are like, how do you, and it's not even the how do you do it. It's like the people who are asking that question, I feel like are more afraid of the rejection part, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
It's definitely that rejection part. Like maybe I'm not too good enough. Maybe my idea is not there.
Afraid of failure, like something we talked about before. Like it's afraid of that failure. Like that's nerve-wracking as hell. And then you're talking about a business, something you're passionate about, and it's like it could possibly fail. That's scary. You know what I mean?
But that's also what goes back to what we're talking about, is like it's just a learning experience. It's not failure, it's a learning experience. So if you teach people like high school students or even elementary students at a young age, like, oh, that was a learning experience. And
versus teach them as a failure.
Then they don't feel like shame, or they don't feel like frozen, and they're like, oh, I'm not gonna try that again because that was embarrassing. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, that was a learning experience. Yay! on to the next learning experience.
I like that. I like that. That's a really good way to look at it.
And that's, I mean, you don't have to. I mean, there's a whole thing about parenting. I mean, you don't have to, give them a trophy for participating, but you can be like, good job, get them next time. That was a learning experience,
Right.
Like
Big
it's all in what
your mindset.
it's all your values you're gonna bring into your kids, you know. So
And-
from perspective, right?
And what the cool thing about it is, like, there's so many people out there, right? There's like more than a billion people out there in the world, that out of those billion, you're gonna get a lot of fans. You know what I'm saying? But it's that exposure that, like, the person, let's say, uh, Javier on the other side of San Diego doesn't know about Boards by Bell, right? And they just found out about it, and they're like, oh, now they're a huge fan. Javier's a huge fan, is now getting your stuff, you know, and now that person is showing your boards to other people who are also into charcuterie boards, and be like, well, how'd you get in contact with that person? And then they start, you know, mentioning your number. It's like we said, the long term thing. And and that's just the thing with people, like, who people out there who want to start a business, get in it. Like, put your foot, like she said, put your foot in the door, get a little bit of experience of what you want to do, research. You know, like I tell Matt, YouTube is my best friend, because I do a lot of do it yourself stuff, you know. And
Mr. DIY right
Mr.
here.
DIY right here.
I love it. I love DIY stuff.
Yeah.
But it's about being resourceful, right? It's about, if you're resourceful enough, you will make it. Because if you're not resourceful, if you're the one asking for money, asking for investment, asking for your parents' money all the time, to like, but I can't do it because my parents are not letting me, like, no, like, you can do it, you know, either move out or put your own money into it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where you have to start. Like, those are obstacles that you have to get around, or you have to get over. Those are just, you're putting yourself in that stop pattern and whatnot. And I'm so proud of you too, Lina, of like where you've been in the past. Like, because I remember you said you were timid, and I remember that timid Lina. We were cool all the time, but I remember you were very timid and shy. To the person you are today.
Yeah, you know, she was so timid.
Yeah.
She was so timid.
I can't even, like, I remember that, but I don't remember things about myself. You know, like, you don't remember things about yourself. You just remember just being there, like, experiencing things.
Dude, I remember little Lina from like fucking middle school. That's so funny.
I remember little Lina since elementary, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. I had the bone cut and everything.
Oh my god! I think I've seen an old elementary school picture of Lina before.
I gotta send you that picture I found earlier, Lina, and then I'm definitely gonna post it on West Coast.
I was still cute though, no matter what.
Don't make
it seem like, I don't want people to be thinking like on this podcast, dang, she was ugly. She was an ugly little girl.
No.
Like this stinky girl. No.
Oh my god.
I have short hair so I can stay clean looking, you know.
She jumped on that. She jumped on that so quick.
Not at all saying that.
You guys can follow my personal page too. I'm cute. I'm not. Anyways, but
and not just you're also a beautiful person. You know, beautiful personality, and it's an honor to have you on this show. To be honest,
thank you.
It really is. What's been your biggest awe moment so far? This is gonna be like our last question before.
Yeah, I know we could talk forever, but what is my biggest awe moment? I would say that, you have to trust the process. Like, I think, like everything I've been through in my life and everything I've learned hasn't always been easy, you know, but nothing in life comes easy, you know, and if you want it, you're going to put in the work. You got to do what you got to do. You got to surround yourself with people that love you and support you, like, genuinely. And like, you have to believe in yourself too, like, that whatever plans that and desires that you have in your heart, like, God placed that on you, and it's gonna happen. Like, you gotta just trust the process, you know? Right. So my biggest awe moment is, you know, you can't wait to know everything about a business to start a business. You know, you can't, it's like life. It's like, you don't need to know everything about parenting to start parenting. You know, you just have to like start it and then learn and grow from it. And so that's like my moment, my aha moment now is just like, you know, I have to just accept the life that I have
Mm-hmm.
and not like complain about it, not be like, oh my God, I have to, I still work. So
Right, right.
I work at 3 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. I'll go
Mm-hmm.
home. I will have to start a board and then I have to deliver it. And I probably
Mm-hmm.
have 2 or 3 maybe on a weekend. And then I come
Mm-hmm.
home, I have
Mm-hmm.
to go to sleep and do it all over again. And it's
Right.
like a part of me is like, I can be like, oh my God, I have to do this. I have to do this. But it's like, no, I don't have to do it. I get to do it. Like I get to have the
Mm-hmm.
privilege to have this life that I have. Like I get to have a job that allows me to like do what I really want to do, which is,
Right.
have my own business. So
That's
I'm
true.
very, very privileged and, you know, so that's how I think of things. It's just like, stop complaining about it, Lina. Just embrace it, and then the sooner you embrace it, the better you are at killing it.
Right. Man, I said this before, but I love that, dude. I love your paradigm. Like I just like love the way,
Hey, there we go, the
like,
little dog.
you know what I mean? I
Lina
love.
brought in her dog right now. She's a big dog mom.
Yeah,
Oh
he had to make
yeah.
an appearance.
I saw him in the background. He's just like, "Come on, mom, let's go."
Yeah,
Oh
my
man.
husband came out here with the dogs. Like, are you done yet?
But no, but seriously, Lena, I love that mindset. You know what I mean? And it's like, and I'm just, we're so fortunate, to have had you on the show, and so other people can like hear what the hell you got to say. You know what I mean? Like that's good stuff. Like that's stuff that people need to like listen to every day. Like I mean, you spoken words that people need to hear every day. You know what I mean?
Aw, I appreciate it.
I really appreciate that. That
Definitely.
was awesome.
I
Really
appreciate
did.
you guys giving me
And
this platform.
so, one last thing: what message do you want to relay out to your audience, to your supporters?
What message? Oh my goodness, I was giving messages all throughout.
I know, right? I know. I feel like that. I
throughout
feel like it's been a very, very repetitive one. But like let's say one quote that you
Okay,
want to leave
one
out.
thing.
One thing.
I think it's like what I kind of just said. It's just like you have a purpose in this life, and every time you wake up, you know that you have a purpose. And
Mhm.
it's up to you to live it out.
Mhm.
Like if you don't live it out, it's not gonna happen.
Right.
Because you're on this earth for a reason.
Mhm.
So find that reason and then just go for it.
Or create that reason too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Create that
Yeah.
reason as
Create
well.
Right.
that reason, figure out
Um,
what it is that you're here on this earth for.
so before we head out, where can people find you on Instagram, Facebook, website?
Yeah. So I'm mostly on Instagram when it comes to my business.
Okay.
So you can just look up Boards by Belle, all one word. And then Beauty by Belle has a dot. So it's beauty.by.belle.
Oh yeah.
And that
Got
one
you.
is that's more like my hobby turned business. So that's more like when I have time to make earrings and I make them, then I post them. I
Mhm.
do like lives. So I did my first time I sold, I've only sold one time.
Mhm.
I just did a live and I just like showed everybody all the earrings I had. And I was like,
Mhm.
if you want it, put a heart, it's yours.
That's
Right.
cool.
And so that's kind of how I'm doing that. Cause it's a lot, to
Oh
just,
yeah.
Yeah, it's a
I
lot.
mean, 2 businesses, working part-time, full-time hours, some days, and then being a husband, being a
Being a
wife.
mom.
I was like,
And,
damn.
and yeah, okay, like I just want to say, like, you know, girls, girls, keep doing what you got to do. Cause I will tell you, like, being a wife is not just like, that's it. Like I'm a cook, I'm a cleaner, I'm a
Ah,
house
no.
cleaner, you know,
Mhm.
you
Mm-mm.
know, and I'm a dog mom and all that stuff. So,
In a
you
way,
know,
it's a business. Being in a marriage is a
I
business.
know.
you
You know what I'm
telling
saying?
me. So,
It's
but
its business on its own.
yeah, but he treats me, he treats me good. So that's
That's
nice as
good.
well.
That's good to hear.
But,
Well, thank you,
yeah.
Lina, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. All your messages were on point. I think oh my God, it was amazing to reconnect with you. Matt, you have any last words for Lina?
Yeah. you know, sorry, my apologies for not being on earlier in the show. But no, same here. Just good to reconnect with you. You know, me and Lina used to talk all the time. We're in like middle school. You know, we were really good friends.
Yeah.
So just like really awesome to just see your face and hear your voice. You know what I mean?
You
And
too.
but like I said, even better. You know, even I know you're kind of joking around, but you did have a lot of messages. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know, I just want to say like, and I can tell by your personality now, like you're definitely not the same Lina you were in like 7th grade. You know what I mean? But like, I can tell by your personality that you wouldn't have a problem with this. But I was just gonna say like, just keep whatever you have to say to whoever you have to say it to, say it.
Yeah.
Like I just want to say that like you have a lot of good stuff to say, and like you have a lot of positivity and like good energy to spread, and and a lot of just good words to put out there. And like I just wanted to just say just keep doing that. Like don't ever change. You know what I mean? Like be you, be unapologetic about it, and keep spreading. Keep spreading your messages.
Thank
You know what I
you.
mean? Like, cause you have really good stuff to say.
You guys
So
too. You guys
Oh,
too.
thanks.
just really want to say that.
Hopefully
Definitely.
we'll have you again, you know, on the show in the future, you know, you maybe next year and a year from now, and we'll be talking about like how you work from this time to that time, and hopefully we're
gonna have some update shows.
Yeah, I gotta
That's
have
what we're
some
gonna be
update
doing.
shows with you as well.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming on the show. And any last words for you for us or anybody out there?
No, just right back at you guys. Like, keep doing what you guys are doing. Keep spreading words of encouragement, and just, you know, keep opening. You guys are an open book, but keep opening it, because I think when people have real conversations, like, people can connect with you, and, you know, they're gonna want to keep learning from you and hearing from you guys.
It's definitely a fun project, the West Coast Initiative. Definitely a fun project.
It's been a good one.
Yeah.
But like nobody has said what you said tonight, and that really. I think I could speak for Alex and I when I say that exactly. It really resonated with us, and it really touched us.
Yeah,
really
definitely.
Deep. We just really thank you for that.
Well, thank you, Lina. Thank you for coming on the show. It was an amazing time. Thank you, Matt, for coming on to the show. A little late, but you know, it's not a good show. It's not a good show without you, buddy. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I'm late, baby, but I'm always right on time.
You bring the party. All right, guys. Thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you guys on the next week episode.